I hope you had a good time as you looked through week one and read some of Bowman and Deal and their framework as how we are going to unfold and unpack this class. Bowman and Deal is a classic text. I would almost indicate that it is kind of the guiding framework in which we're going to use for this class. I'm also going to introduce you into some more classical texts as you begin to read the articles. Note that each one of those articles have been secured and are in our library site, so it should be easy to find them. You won't have to go looking for them. If the particular copy that is in the library is difficult to read, you certainly can go out on your own, and I think the bibliographic information is there available to you. So you can go to your own library, you can go to your public library and see if you can find that same article, if it's a better script that you can read better. But nonetheless, I'm going to ask you to read Bowman and Deal, and today or this week we're going to look at the structural frame. In some way or shape, we're going to look and see how these formal structures actually operate within the private context. And we can compare and contrast those in how they work in the public sector, or even how they work in the public educational sector. So many of you have the experiences along these lines already. You understand organizational structures, you understand hierarchies, organizations, and how the chain of command works. But I want to challenge you on look at those chain of commands and how they are formulated in your organization and how they may be compared to what you're reading in the literature. I've asked you to read several articles. Some of them are foundational articles. They're a little bit dated, and the reason why they're dated is because I want you to look at these articles and how the foundations of the structural frame has come about. And we can trace that structural frame through the history of organizations in the United States. And as we look at them, it'll be interesting to see how they've changed over time, how they've remained the same, and if there are any concepts that we can gravitate to, and it'll help us to improve our practice in the private setting. As you are beginning to develop your practice in the private setting, it's always important to understand the theoretical framework in which these organizations have developed and how they've begun to unfold. The more educated you can be about the origins of some of the structures that exist, the better off you're going to be as a professional. It's important that sometimes you're able to reach beyond your personal experience to an experience that is based in the literature. The literature is able to open up your eyes into new ways and new avenues to look at some of the context or look at some of the examples that are happening in front of you. And the idea is when you embrace the structural frame, you're able to analyze and understand the complexities of an organization in such a way that will help you to navigate this difficult context in which you find yourself. And as a growing professional, we can always get better at what we're doing. The structural frame is a way to help us to analyze the context, analyze the situation, and maybe even some of the difficulties that we're having through this structural lens to help us to understand maybe a way forward. So I look forward to interacting with you this week as we look at the structural frame.